Oh, I think America's going to learn a lot more about the Niners. That the Niners are legitimate Super Bowl contenders. That the Niners are much closer to what they were in 2019, when, by the way, they beat the Packers twice, 37-8 and 37-20, than they were who they were in 2020 when a injury-riddled Niners team got beat up by Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. I have major concerns about this game from a Green Bay perspective, and I don't think I'm the only one. The biggest concern is they're already on their left guard playing left tackle. Bakhtiari's still dealing with the injury he suffered last season. They slid over Elton Jenkins to left tackle, but he hasn't practiced this week. So if he doesn't play, you're in a brutal spot. Additionally, as we talked about throughout the week, Green Bay has gotten no pressure on the quarterback all year. And so that is a huge problem for them. And when you consider the fact they have one sack, and if you remember that one sack was Jared Goff's tiny hands just losing the football, no one even touched him, they really have 0 sacks. So that's not great. On top of all that, Broussard, when I say I'm not the only one who's concerned, I think Aaron Rodgers is a little concerned. A little Easter egg in his interview with Pat McAfee, if you remember. He said, listen, we have a really tough schedule this year. We're going to have ups and downs. And he was talking about the media overreacting, is how we read it. I think he was also kind of talking about this game. I know we very well likely might lose this week. And I don't want to deal with all the nonsense I dealt with after week 1. Now, the schedule softens up in the short term right after this week. But I think Aaron's concerned about this game. If I'm a Packer fan, I'd be concerned about this game. And I think this is a loss for Green Bay. And people start looking at the Niners as one of the top 2 teams in the NFC, Broussard.
Ooh.
I agree with much of what you said, Nick. And look, we're going to learn a lot about both teams because neither has played a really strong opponent yet. All right, so San Fran, I like them just as much as you do, but they haven't really beaten a great team either. They looked good against Detroit early and then let them back in the game. And obviously last week they played Philadelphia, which we don't think is very strong. So we're going to learn about both, but I'm going more with Green Bay. We're going to learn more about the Packers for many of the reasons that you said. You pointed out how in 2019, San Francisco owned the Packers. And these teams are very similar. I know people will say, oh, that was 2 years ago. The teams are essentially the same. And the fact is, when San Francisco has been healthy with Jimmy Garoppolo and the rest of their core players, Nick Bosa and the like, they've owned Green Bay. All right, and it was only that year, 2019, but Jimmy G is 2-0 against the Packers. I know he's not better than Aaron Rodgers, but what we also know is that with San Francisco, they win when Jimmy G plays. It's as simple as that. I keep saying this. They're 24-8 when he's a starter, and in that same period, they're 7-27 when he's not there, even with the great genius Kyle Shanahan. So one of the reasons they've beat up Green Bay when healthy is because they've owned them in the trenches. They've been too tough and too physical for Green Bay at the line of scrimmage and the point of attack. So I want to see, is this a different Packers team? Are they made of the right stuff? Will they match the physical play of Green Bay at the point of attack? So I'm looking for that. And also, Nick, you brought up Aaron Rodgers. I'm glad you did. Because I still think there are questions about him. Not about how great he still is, not about can he still, be one of the best quarterbacks in the league, but is he going to be engaged week in, week out? All right, This Packers team has played one half. They've played one half of great football. That's it. Really good football. 2 quarters out of 8 they've played well. And I'm not saying I don't expect Aaron Rodgers to be Aaron Rodgers, but I'm just saying it's just one game against a weak Detroit Lions team's Wilds that was supposed to quiet all the critics after that long off season. I want to see it again. If he struggles again, then I think the questions will abound once more, Wilds.
Okay, Broussard, are you sharpening your knife? Are you putting your knives away? because I felt like Aaron Rodgers, when he went on McAfee and tried to, like, torch people, to be honest with you, and he was very upset on how people doubted him. Everyone's like, I felt like most of the world said, okay, you were probably right. You're the MVP. There's going to be ups and downs. And I felt like you went back a little bit, but it also feels like you're taking your criticism car out of the garage. You're opening it up, right? You're opening the garage door. You might take it out on the highway. You might not. How sharp are your knives, or how fast are you going to drive the criticism car if he has a mediocre game?
Well, if he has a mediocre game, I'm not necessarily going to go off on him, but we will learn something. We will learn that, at least at this point, this is not the same Aaron Rodgers who came out ticked off last year and won the MVP award. All right, so that's what we learn. I got to see how he plays before I determine how sharp the knives will be. I'm not trying to pick on him, but look, I think the questions are still there.
Well, so where I'll push back a bit is I think Aaron Rodgers could play a great game and the Packers lose. The Packers, until Za'Darius Smith gets back, they have no pass rush. They are already without their all-pro left tackle. They might be without their all-pro guard who has replaced him at left tackle, which is going to make a team that, to Broussard's point, they couldn't block when they were healthy 2 years ago, probably unblockable. One of the reasons I like the Niners this year is I actually like the way they won against Philly. Against Detroit, in my individual record book, I have the Niners down as blowing out Detroit. I do not care. I don't think they won by 8. I know the world does. They didn't. They were up 24 points at the 2-minute warning. I don't care that they coasted on the final lap. But so they beat Detroit by scoring damn near 50, right? Then they play the Eagles, and it's like, oh, it's going to be a defensive, low-scoring matchup. We can win one of those as well. I think the Niners are a very well-rounded team. Now, I am not worshiping at the altar of quarterback wins the way Broussard and Wilds are in relation to Jimmy Garoppolo. But I do care about the fact that he has not thrown an interception this year, that he's been playing clean football. And so I don't think they can win a Super Bowl with him at quarterback. I think eventually they make the transition to Trey Lance. But if they start out 3-0 and they beat Green Bay, I think it says a lot about them. And I think Green Bay, their path to a Super Bowl is going to be, A, getting their best players back in Smith and Bakhtiari, or 2 of their 4 best players, and B, Rodgers catching fire in the postseason. I don't think, Jenna, this game is going to be an indicator of that, but I just don't think there's a good matchup for the Packers this weekend.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.